On the cold, silent night of December 24th, 1865, in the small town of Pulaski, Tennessee, 6 former Confederate soldiers, John C. Lester, John B. Kennedy, James R. Crow, Franco McCord, Richard R. Reed, and J. Calvin Jones, gathered under the cover of secrecy to form a society that would forever cast a dark shadow across the post-Civil War South. A group they would call the Ku Klux Klan, conceived initially as a social club for camaraderie among veterans, but swiftly transforming into a clandestine organization devoted to the restoration of white supremacy. And soon the group attracted a more commanding figure, Nathan Bedford Forrest, a former Confederate general of notorious repute, who rose to become the first Grand Wizard, the supreme authority of this secretive order, establishing a terrifying hierarchy designed to enforce obedience and maintain secrecy, with titles like Grand Dragons, rulers of entire states, Exalted Cyclops, heads of local chapters, Clauliffs, second in command, and a variety of subordinate officers whose names and roles were kept secret even from many members, all operating under the cover of night, masked and hooded in the Klan's distinctive white robes and pointed hoods, with ritualized ceremonies involving elaborate oaths, symbolic crosses, and secret signs designed to invoke fear in their victims and loyalty among initiates. And as the organization spread across Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, and beyond, they conducted night rides that brought terror to freed African Americans, Republican office holders, and white allies of Reconstruction, employing tactics ranging from beatings, whippings, and public lynchings to the burning of homes, churches, and schools, leaving entire communities in paralyzing fear, while maintaining a coded system of communication and secret insignia to coordinate attacks. And as their acts of terror escalated, the federal government could no longer remain idle, prompting President Ulysses S. Grant, in his determination to uphold civil rights for all Americans, to issue stern warnings and take decisive action, stating with resolve that every man shall be protected in his civil rights, and no organization shall intimidate or terrorize citizens for exercising those rights, leading to the 1871 Ku Klux Klan Act, which granted federal authorities the power to investigate, arrest, and prosecute Klan members, resulting in mass trials that decimated the organization's ranks, weakened its hold over the South, and forced the first Klan into a period of decline by the early 1870s. Yet the legacy of Nathan Bedford Forrest's chilling declaration, "I don't know whether it is right or not, but I intend to put the Negro down," echoed across the region, leaving an indelible mark of fear, oppression, and the violent assertion of racial hierarchy. And throughout this period, the Klan's combination of rituals, symbols, cross burnings, coded titles, and nighttime attacks created a mythology of terror, ensuring that even after its decline under federal enforcement, the memory of hooded riders, blazing crosses, and organized violence would endure, becoming a dark template for later resurgence. And 3 decades after the first Klan faded into obscurity, in 1915, the embers of white supremacist fury were fanned once more atop the rocky heights of Stone Mountain, Georgia, where William Joseph Simmons, inspired by the virulent racial imagery of D.W. Griffith's film The Birth of a Nation, and a desire to reclaim Southern dominance, orchestrated the rebirth of the Ku Klux Klan, calling for a return to secret robes, hoods, and hierarchical titles reminiscent of Nathan Bedford Forrest's order, but now with grander ambition and national reach, as he proclaimed to a gathering of initiates under the flickering glow of torchlight that the Klan would preserve the purity of our race, our religion, and our nation. And soon, the organization expanded beyond the South into the North and Midwest, attracting millions of members at its peak between 4 to 6 million, including politicians, businessmen, law enforcement officials, and everyday citizens who were drawn by the Klan's promise of moral order, white Protestant supremacy, and nativist protectionism. And the hierarchy mirrored the first Klan, but was now even more elaborate, with Imperial Wizard Hiram Wesley Evans leading national operations, Exalted Cyclops controlling local chapters, and Caliphs and Grand Dragons managing statewide strategies. All bound by ritual oaths, secret handshakes, and symbolic regalia, including white robes, conical hoods, burning crosses, and the Klan flag adorned with the blood-red cross within a white circle on a field of black, each symbol designed to evoke fear and reverence. While in neighborhoods, towns, and cities across America, the Second Klan executed a campaign of intimidation and terror, orchestrating lynchings, beatings, kidnappings, and bombings, targeting African Americans, Catholics, Jews, immigrants, and anyone deemed un-American. And they carried out attacks on homes, churches, and schools, often leaving warnings scrawled or cross burnings blazing in front yards to enforce submission. As political influence surged, Klan-supported candidates were elected to city councils, state legislatures, and even governorships, allowing the organization to wield control over law enforcement, judicial decisions, and local policies, embedding a culture of fear and complicity. And yet, despite this apparent dominance, the Second Klan was not invulnerable, as scandals erupted, including financial corruption, embezzlement by national leaders, and the exposure of sexual improprieties, which, combined with growing public opposition and federal scrutiny, precipitated a decline in membership by the early 1930s. And by 1944, the Klan had largely disintegrated into fragmented local cells, leaving behind a legacy of terror and a blueprint for later revival. And throughout this period, Klan members maintained their secrecy and mystique through ritualized meetings, fiery initiation ceremonies, cross burnings on hillsides and in public spaces, the use of insignia and coded language, and the ever-present threat of violence, ensuring that the mythos of the hooded rider and masked avenger remained vivid in the American imagination, while contemporary newspapers, FBI reports, and first-hand accounts from terrified communities documented the terror, giving the Second Klan an almost cinematic presence as torchlight flickered against white robes, and the echo of marching members chanting their oaths haunted towns long after the organization's national influence waned, serving as both a chilling warning and a prelude to the even more violent resurgence of the Third Klan in the post-World War II era. A resurgence that would intersect tragically with the Civil Rights Movement and leave indelible scars on the nation's conscience. And following the collapse of the Second Klan in 1944, a new wave of white supremacist fury emerged in the post-World War II era, as the Third Klan arose in 1946, motivated by the growing civil rights movement and the perceived threat to the social and racial order long enforced in the South. And this iteration, while fragmented and decentralized, maintained the terrifying hierarchy and rituals of its predecessors, with leaders such as Robert Shelton and later David Duke seeking to assert authority as imperial or grand wizards, overseeing local chapters led by exalted cyclops and caliphs, while ceremonial robes, pointed hoods, burning crosses, and insignia including flags emblazoned with the red cross within a white circle on a black field continued to evoke fear and convey symbolic power, as Klan members carried out targeted terror campaigns, often at night, involving bombings, arson, lynchings, beatings, and intimidation, with one of the most infamous and haunting examples occurring on September 15, 1963, when members of the Klan planted explosives at the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama, resulting in the deaths of 4 young African-American girls: Addie Mae Collins, 14, Cynthia Wesley, 14, Carol Robertson, 14, and Denise McNair, 11. An atrocity that shocked the nation, galvanized public opinion, and propelled the civil rights movement forward. While the FBI, under the COINTELPRO program and other operations, infiltrated Klan cells, monitored communications, and prosecuted those responsible, bringing justice to some, though not all, perpetrators. And this period saw the emergence of Klan splinter groups and regional factions operating in Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi, Louisiana, and extending into the Midwest and even pockets of the North, all maintaining secretive headquarters, ritualistic meetings, and coded communications to avoid detection. And in the 1970s and 1980s, leaders like David Duke sought political legitimacy, running for governor and congressional seats, blending traditional Klan rhetoric with modern political strategies while continuing to glorify hooded rituals, cross burnings, and symbolic insignia, such as membership pins, banners, and flags. And even as the modern Klan's numbers dwindled into the low thousands, their cultural and symbolic impact persisted, appearing in films, media coverage, and local histories, serving as a reminder of organized domestic terrorism. And through this cinematic tableau, one can visualize the hooded figures marching under torchlight, chanting oaths in unison, their robes flowing, crosses burning atop hillsides, while terrified communities cower in silence. A narrative punctuated by chilling quotes from Klan leaders asserting their ideology of racial purity as the FBI tracked their every move, documenting bombings, arson, and murder. While today, the Klan exists only as fragmented factions, their founding offices now obscure, their public presence diminished yet persistent, maintaining rituals, insignia, flags, and secret meetings. And despite decades of law enforcement crackdowns, prosecutions, and civil rights advancements, the legacy of violence, terror, and intimidation remains embedded in American history. And as we trace the thread from the first Klan's December 24th, 1865 founding in Pulaski, with Forrest's ominous warning to put the Negro down, through the second Klan's fiery rise atop Stone Mountain under Simmons and Evans, the violent acts, political infiltration, and public spectacles of cross burnings and bombings, to the third Klan's horrifying attack on Birmingham's children and its modern fragmented existence under leaders like Duke, one sees a continuous, chilling narrative of organized hatred, secrecy, ritual, and terror, leaving an indelible mark on the nation and serving as a haunting reminder of the destructive power of ideology, fear, and systematic oppression, compelling viewers to confront the stark realities of America's darkest chapters and to understand that the Klan's enduring influence is not merely historical, but a warning of how organized hate, secrecy, and ritualized violence can permeate communities, exploit fear, and manipulate politics. And though the modern Klan is fragmented, their ceremonies, insignia, robes, and burning crosses continue in small pockets, while law enforcement and federal agencies, including the FBI, monitor their actions to prevent further terror. And historians and civil rights advocates emphasize that remembering these events, from the first Klan's formation on December 24th, 1865, the violent campaigns under Nathan Bedford Forrest, President Grant's decisive intervention, and the 1871 Ku Klux Klan Act, the rebirth atop Stone Mountain by William J. Simmons, and leadership under Hiram Wesley Evans, the nationwide expansion, lynchings, bombings, political infiltration, to the Third Klan's post-World War II terror, the 1963 Birmingham church bombing, and the modern fragmented Klan, led by figures like David Duke, is essential to ensure that the atrocities, fear, and oppression inflicted by hooded riders and masked avengers are never repeated, and that society remains vigilant against the resurgence of ideology-driven violence, oppression, and domestic terrorism, leaving a chilling cinematic testament for audiences to watch, reflect, and learn from. As the shadows of history, the flicker of burning crosses, the echo of whispered oaths, and the horrors of coordinated terror remind us all that the consequences of hatred are real, profound, and enduring, and that understanding this history is not just an academic exercise, but a moral imperative to protect civil rights, justice, and humanity itself.